Hey everyone, I'm back again with another Mario Kart ranking, and if you couldn't tell by now, I'm basically going to go through the entire series, because I think these games are really fun. Except for this game. Mario Kart 64 is one of the most frustrating single-player experiences I have ever had in my life. From the rubber banding CPUs to its messy and buggy gameplay, I find it hard to call this one of the great Mario Kart games. Recently though, this game has seen a turn in the Mario Kart community, and has started to be considered one of the more lower ranked games in the series. But it can't all be bad, can it? The game must have some good courses in it, right? Well, that's what I'm here to find out. So strap in, like and subscribe, and let's get to the most predictable last place spot in a Mario Kart ranking anyone has ever seen, as well as the F tier. Of course Wario Stadium is last, what else would it have been? This course is so lazily put together and boring that I would rather eat paint. The same Wario head being copy and pasted on the walls and the lack of any meaningful obstacles is so baffling that I'm wondering if this was a course that just got rushed out of the door. This course takes nearly 4 minutes on average to complete, and you really feel those 4 minutes. I haven't played the Mario Kart World Retro version of this course, but it already looks 100 times better than this snooze fest. The music doesn't even fit either since they just reused the circuit theme. And there's this awful part of the course where if you fall down over this one jump, it sends you so far back and just makes playing this course so much worse and longer and drawn out than it needs to be. Just watching footage of this track is putting me to sleep because it's just drift around a corner, go over some bumps and through some dips, do a jump, repeat. Why couldn't there have been anything else here? Like some Goombas or literally any other obstacle to make racing on this track fun whatsoever. Oh well, maybe the new retro version's fun, but we're not talking about that, are we? Last place and an easy F tier. Now on to the D tier already. Yep, that's right, Wario Stadium was the only F tier in this game.
Hey, if you're good, I will show you around Snowden.
I really wanted to like Frappe Snowland, as snow courses are some of my favorite courses in Mario Kart. But this one just feels like a white and blue desert track. So there's no engaging theming or set pieces going on other than this ice wall. And what does that ice wall really offer? It's just there. It just feels like Toad's Turnpike, but instead of metal walls, it's ice. It just feels half-assed. There's some neat obstacles though, with the snowmen at this one part, and the giant Mario snowman statue is a little neat. But I think I would have liked to see either these things either interact or vary the gameplay, or show up more around the course. I just don't think there's enough going for this course that really makes it good at all. It's kind of boring actually. There's also some weird areas as well where it looks like you can cut over a mound of snow or around a corner, but then Lakitu just flies down and takes you back. I don't get why this game needed 2 snow courses either, when the other one they have is just so much better than this one. This should have been like a town or city course to just add some more course theming into this game. But we didn't get that, so I'm just judging it based off of Frappe Snowland and what we got with it. And what we got was a dull, boring desert recolor basically. You could literally change the snow to sand and the only thing out of place would be the snowmen and the statue.
This is a bigger disappointment than my son.
Okay, everyone expected Rainbow Road here? Good. This course is so boring and empty. I don't want to hear the experience cope or the shortcut excuse, because a course as legendary as Rainbow Road should be a difficult and harrowing experience, not a nice drive-through space with guardrails everywhere. The only pros I can give this are the fireworks and the music. Everything else is underwhelming and so painfully boring. I don't want to drive on an empty track for 6 minutes. And yeah, you know, empty might be a little harsh considering there's one chain chomp that goes through one 10-second section of this track. But then there's nothing else. A shortcut shouldn't be mandatory just to shave off some time. And Rainbow Road needs more to it other than theming. It needs swamps. It needs challenge. You should actually be falling off at least once a race. I'm honestly upset that there really isn't much more to say about this course though, considering it's a Rainbow Road. There should be so much to say about a course with that name. Being named Rainbow Road makes sure you get a top 3 spot most of the time, so for it being so low is a bit depressing to me. But that's just where we're at, a D tier Rainbow Road. Now we're on the C tier, and let's see how long that lasts.
Mama, look at the cow! Hey! Somebody say hey. No!
Moo Moo Farms is the lesser of the two Moo Moo courses. It's very short, just being an oval, and the theming is very plain, with it just having 2 bridges you drive under, and all the grassy fields and cows fenced off. The Monty Moles do provide a nice obstacle, give some risk-reward factor. If you want to drift on the inside of the track, you gotta try to avoid the Monty Moles, you know, it's pretty nice. I like it when courses do that. But other than that, there's not really much to talk about on this course. It's the second course of the game. There's nothing. It's just still drifting. I did notice while racing through this course, though, that there are some cows on the outskirts, and I was wondering why those cows couldn't have been progressing obstacles like they were in Moo Moo Meadows. I don't know. Without that, this track is pretty empty and bland.
I like trains.
Calamari Desert is still a pretty flawed track in my opinion, and I think this version is the worst in the series. Because of this game's rubber banding, if you're in first place and you get right past the train, you would think all the CPUs would be stuck behind the train, right? You'd get more of a lead. But no, since there's rubber banding, all the other racers just phase right through the train and keep on your ass. It's so dumb. I hate it when racing games implement rubber banding as a way to artificially increase the difficulty. It's so lame. The train gimmick is also still really flawed since it hurts everyone except first place. And I still think that having to completely stop during a racing game just goes against the entire core of the genre, especially in a game that promotes chaos and randomness like Mario Kart. Also, since the train really isn't too big of a hazard in this version, you don't have the cool tunnel change-ups, it's just a flat oval desert, which is really boring. Like I said in my Mario Kart 7, the train should have been something you either drove through, on top of, or under. I don't get why this course was designed this way, and I still have a hard time finding out why people put this as one of the best.
That's Mama Luigi to you, Mario!
I'm surprised that a star course made it up this far in my ranking, but it's a pretty good one. I think the slippery controls allow for this course to feel harder than it really is, with all the sharp turns and drifting. Like I just said, the course is very windy and has a lot of drifting opportunity to help new players get accustomed to it, and I think that does work very well. It's a simple course, elevated by the controls, and its theming is pretty neat as well. I like the subtle stadium theming, and as well as the Luigi imagery in the ads, and the hot air balloon that is always guaranteed to give you a blue shell. It's just, like everyone always says, you never start off with your best track.
Welcome to Mario Kart.
While I gave Mario Raceway some shit in my Wii ranking, I think its original variation is really good. Like Luigi Raceway, the slippery controls and abundance of drifting opportunities make this a fun course, especially when it comes to just staying on the road. There's a lot of sharp and narrow roads and turns, especially the hairpin turn around the giant mushroom. Like, speaking of the giant mushrooms, the shortcuts around there and the pipe near the very end are some nice varying set pieces that add some more variety and life to this course. I do wish there was a lot more to say about this game and the courses in general. A lot of the off-road ramps that were added in Wii aren't here, unfortunately, which eliminates some of the shortcuts to talk about. However, though, I do like the piranha plants still, and I liked how they were placed closer and more compact along the edge of the track to incentivize you to stay on the road. It's just a well-made track that I find a lot of enjoyment racing on in this game. Still don't like it in Wii, though. Sorry. DK Jungle Parkway is a nice course. I like the sunset vibe of driving through the jungle, and this course has a lot of variety in it to make sure you're not bored. You have the small road before the big jump over the river, then you continue driving through the dense jungle before reaching the valley and bridge, and then ending off driving up through the cave past the finish line. I've seen some people complain about the weird fruit you're pelted with when you go off-road, but I genuinely think that's pretty cool. Sure, you're not supposed to be in the main road, but I think the fruit pelting you can actually help you get back in the main road, since it doesn't slow you down, but it also boost you over towards the center road. I'm in the minority where I think this feature should have stayed in the Wii version of this course. Unfortunately, the water is also blue instead of orange, but we still have the boat, which I think is also really cool to jump over. Although I think in some instances, if you line up correctly, you go through the boat, which is kind of funny. And I also like how in this version of the course, you have more control over where you land after the big jump at the beginning.
He's a phantom.
Banshee Boardwalk is a pretty neat ghost-themed course. I definitely enjoy it more than any of the Ghost Valleys, that's for sure. And I think that has to do with how this course is designed. I really like how there are holes in the floor, mainly in the mansion part, and how a lot of the edges are missing guardrails, so if you aren't careful, it's super easy to fall off of. The mansion was a really cool part of the course too, and I wish more ghost-themed courses try to have this kind of variety than either picking to be a mansion or a pier/boardwalk. The giant cheap sheep that jumps out is a little odd, and I wish it did affect your racing, like you had to dodge it or something, but I don't think that's too big of a deal to me. What I don't like is the constant boo PNGs that just float around you. I think it would have been more compelling to either have boo obstacles or, I don't know, just literally do anything else with them. I think they're just kind of annoying in this case. Sure, it might have been too much of a challenge to have all these different obstacles and, well, challenge, but this is also the second to last course in the game, so it should be hard. Also, be careful whenever there's a lightning use, because it's basically the equivalent of getting flashbanged in Call of Duty. Shout out Requise for filling that bedsheet over my head. Now that we're out of C tier, let's get on to the B tier and see what we're dealing with here.
Kick that rock. I'm not gonna fall.
Here's the other snow track I was referring to earlier. I think Sherbert Land gets a bit of bad rep. While it does suck in Wii, I mean, for crying out loud, I think it was in my bottom 4. Here, I think the slippery controls really fit the glacier theming. Plus, we have penguins as obstacles and some variety in set pieces with the cave and having to either hop over the cracks in the ice or drive along the glacier. The music is also very cheery as well and fits that winter feeling very, very well. And you also have this really giant penguin out in the middle of the track, which is nice to look at. I think the slippery controls benefit this course the most, especially since we're driving straight on ice. So having to try get around those penguins or jump over those cracks in the ice can be very, very difficult and fun to do and satisfying to pull off. Yeah, I don't know, I just don't think this course gets enough credit because it's fun, it's varied, and can be challenging, while also kind of easy if you're accustomed to this game's controls.
Help! Help! My leg!
Koopa Troopa Beach is a pretty solid course. I enjoy a lot of the split paths with the rocks, and all the boost ramps you can take to get further ahead in the race. I also really like the crabs as obstacles in and out of the water, and I do miss when the water actually used to be a dangerous threat in these older games. It made a lot more of these beach or tracks that featured water a lot more dangerous and daunting. I don't know, I get we've evolved, but I just still miss this era of Mario Kart. You know, the era I wasn't alive for. There's also a really cool gimmick where if the tide is low enough, there's a secret path on the right side of the ending pool. Yet it has a lot of crabs for some more risk-reward features. Also, the waterfall shortcut is still here, just like the Mario Kart 7 version, but in my opinion, I think it's easier to access since we don't need to get access to the giant glider ramp in the middle of the water, and instead the ramp is just right next to it. I think this is a nice solid beach track that takes advantage of its theming. Certainly nothing special, but in a game like this, you know, it's kind of hard to pick out any big faults. Now we're on to the A tier, the top 5.
Chocolate! Chocolate!
I really wasn't expecting to like Choco Mountain so much, but like some of the game's earlier courses, the slippery controls and tight spaces really make it memorable and challenging. I mean, other than the chocolate theming. I really like the foggy atmosphere, and the course does do a great job looking like chocolate. It looks pretty tasty and not dry like the Mario Kart 8 version. There really isn't all that's going on much here, other than some areas where you can fall down if you aren't careful enough, and I think that the falling rocks are a fun obstacle to dodge. But the ending bumps aren't really satisfying or smooth to drive on, especially without a tricking system. There's also a really cool glitch you can pull off, where if you drive up the side of the mountain right before the rocks start falling, you can skip that entire U-turn to save yourself some time. But it just won't matter because of the rubber banding in this game. This is just a pretty fun course, and I think the theming is pretty unique. I mean, a chocolate mountain, come on.
When you're dueling with the night and you can't survive the fight, cause the shadow mental's might fades too rapidly.
While some of the chaos in this course can seem unfair, I still love it. I love how narrow the highway you drive on is, and the fact that the item boxes are placed on the shoulder lanes is a really neat touch, because not only is that the only way you can get items, it also provides some opportunities for you to overtake the cars in front of you. I also really like the sunset atmosphere the track has going on. It reminds me a lot of coming home late from work and enjoying the scenery as I make my way back home. Another cool thing about this course is that in reverse or mirror mode, I don't know what this game refers it to, the cars will actually drive towards you instead of with you, and I just thought that was a really cool touch. Like I said earlier, some people don't like this version of the course because the chaos seems way too unfair, while other people love it for its seemingly unfair chaos. And I'm here to just say, yeah, it's fun. I don't really care that it's unfair. It's just fun. It's like a more extreme version of Moonview Highway. The gimmick of Yoshi Valley works so well in its original version. While it's been drilled into everyone's head that left and then left again is the fastest path, the way they set up this course makes it so that other paths are still viable. The porcupine obstacles and really narrow bridges that make it too easy for you to fall off of is what allow the other paths to be used and keep you ahead if you're already in first. This game gives you a lot of risk-reward opportunities throughout the game, but I think it works best here with how narrow and dangerous the better paths are on Yoshi Valley. I also really like the giant spinning egg towards the end. I don't know who thought of that, but it's a really fun obstacle and set piece. I'm just still so confused looking at later versions of Yoshi Valley, why it was so simplified and made so easy. Because, yeah, this is just the better version of the track, since you can still stay ahead in first place by not taking the best path. And when you do take the best path, not only will it put you ahead, but it's also more rewarding to pull off because, like I said, it's so narrow. I also like how in this game, it can't keep track of your placement, so everyone is just question marked. Finally, on to S tier, the top 2 tracks of this game. Royal Raceway is an awesome track. I love the overall feeling of driving around Peach's castle with the sky being this nice pink color. It's a very soothing aesthetic in my opinion. Also, we have the big jump, which is really cool and was probably mind-blowing back when this game first came out. We also have some nice shortcuts in the grass near the end of the track, and the piranha plants on the edge of the grass to keep you on the road, returning for Mario Raceway as well, and work just as well here. One detail I love in this course is how you can just drive up to Peach's castle and get so close to it. Sure, it doesn't really affect the race or anything, I just think it's a nice detail to add some more life and variety to this game. And that's pretty much it for Royal Raceway. I'm trying to really quickly see if there's anything else. I like all the drifting opportunities. I just like the kind of grassy field aesthetic it has going on. The castle is just awesome. I wish they didn't take that out of Mario Kart 8, but it doesn't really affect the racing, so it doesn't matter.
So long, Bowser!
I had a really hard time picking my favorite course. But after seeing the OG N64 Bowser Castle, I was hooked. From the eerie music to the amount of obstacles and challenge present, it was a perfect pick for my #1 spot. All of the thwomps inside the castle moving and thumping up and down to really keep you on your toes and make you swerve around the cramped corridors is a fantastic use of them, and I think the best use of them in the series. The thwomp in jail, Morty, is pretty cool, and I kind of like how he's green instead of blue. I don't know if that's the lighting, but I like how he's just different. I also like all the Bowser statues that shoot fire and the Bowser portraits as you're going down the stairs. It's just some nice aesthetic touch that works. The ending is also just as good, with you having to drive over a bridge on lava and then make a jump onto the castle wall, trying to dodge those lava pits, and then finally drifting towards the finish line. It's just nice. I think the whole journey through this course is very well set up. It kind of makes you feel like you're trying to escape Bowser's castle. I also like all the outside areas and the gardens and greenery to show that this castle is more than just bricks and lava. It's just a castle that's owned by Bowser. The music is also haunting and probably one of my favorite tracks in the series. I don't know why, but it always just pops into my head whenever I start thinking about Mario Kart. It's just a really good course. I don't know if there's much more to say other than, yeah, this is the best course in this game. And that's my list. I decided to get this game out of the way because I didn't want to do all of my favorite and the most interesting Mario Kart games and then have the less interesting games left over. So I'm setting it up in a way that's more fun. Next time I do one of these rankings for Mario Kart, it'll probably be Double Dash or Super Circuit. Hope you all like the video, like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all on the flip side.